The war between Russia and Ukraine hit its 1 year mark as of February 24th, but peace talks haven't made any movement.
We are calling for more funding to Ukraine. Let's rewind a little bit and give you some information. 1 year ago, this video captured what was turned into war. Russian soldiers breached into Ukraine in February of 2022. Many saw this as a major escalation of the Russian-Ukraine war, which was started in 2014. Now, since then, many businesses and workplaces have put up signs that say, "We stand with Ukraine," showing their support for the country. When this first went down, Putin used the so-called strategic strategy method in this attack. In this statement sent out by President Biden, he said, "President Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring catastrophic loss of life with human suffering. Russia alone is responsible for the deaths and destruction this attack will bring. The world will hold Russia accountable." Now, the attack also targeted popular Kyiv International Airport, which is home to lots of military equipment, and hundreds of soldiers were killed. Now, Kyiv International Airport is one of the biggest cities in Ukraine, also the capital. Now, on the day of the attack, President Zelensky tweeted, "We will give weapons to anyone who wants to defend the country. Be ready to support Ukraine in the squares of our cities." Now, residents trying to flee the country encountered many challenges, including gas shortages and long traffic problems. 7 months later, Russia announced its first mobilization since World War II, calling up more than 300,000 former soldiers, including ex-conscripts, in an emergency draft. This is different than the mandatory military service for men in Russia. Russian men aged 18 to 27 years are conscripted for 1 year of active military service, usually twice a year. The spring draft is from April 1st to July 15th, and the fall draft is from October 1st to December 31st of each year. Now, back to date, the U.S. military has been extremely generous to Ukraine, giving them more than $3.7 billion in U.S. military assistance in countries impacted by Russia's brutal war. In the first week of 2023, the United States continues to stand strongly behind Ukraine, and our European allies and partners are announcing more than $3.75 billion in new military assistance. This includes military equipment, weapons, 13,000 grenade launchers, communications, radar, and intelligence equipment, trainings, maintenance, and more.
And in this side of Eastchester, we were able to find many houses that have "We Stand with Ukraine" signs on their lawn supporting Ukraine. Now, we spoke with Mr. Steve Borys, the Eastchester High School 12th grade teacher for us, and he gave us some information. He's a Ukrainian American, and he gave us an insight on what is going on in the war. And we're here with Mr. Steve Borys, the 12th grade teacher for government and economics here at Eastchester High School. Mr. Borys, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time.
It's my pleasure to help students anytime.
Alrighty, so we're going to get right on with the questions here for Mr. Borys, so we'd appreciate your attention.
Okay, so the first one is, do you have any relatives still living in Ukraine?
None that we know of. Everybody we believe was, killed during the Holodomor or during the Great Terror, and that anybody left was wiped out by Hitler once he started his invasion in was it 1941. So now there may be some, but we can't confirm that.
Can you tell me how the war has affected your family? Obviously, no, you said no one's still there, but how
Right.
emotionally and, seeing...
It's basically just me. I'm pretty much the sole survivor of my family, and my wife and my kids. That's about all the folks we have. And for me, it is also not only as a Ukrainian, but also as a social studies teacher. It's just been horrifying that we just keep seeing these things repeat. When you hear how Putin has claim that Ukraine doesn't exist. It's not a real place. That we've had this before. We've had the Holodomor before. We've had the Great Terror. These Russian crimes on the Ukrainian people and other folks in Eastern Europe. The millions who have been massacred by Russian aggression, and that we're seeing it again is terrifying. What's great now, unlike past when they just ignored it or pretend it didn't happen, now the Western world is pitching in, and my goodness, I think we've given $100 billion in aid. That's a big reason why the Ukrainians are holding their own, if not winning this war.
So if you don't mind sharing, what are your opinions about the current position that the U.S. holds in the war?
Oh, sure. You know, I think I'm very happy that that we're giving the aid that we are. It was great to see President Biden go over and speak with Zelensky, and actually, surprise visit. And yeah, I agree with the policies. I just wish we could do more negotiating and get more folks involved in trying to bring this to a truce, to some sort of political arrangement, because I don't think it's going to be settled on the battlefield, and it's just going to be more carnage and waste and death on both sides. And I think we really need to push for a political solution to save lives, because I think it's, as you can see now, they're starting to dig trenches. It's reverting to trench warfare, like 100 years ago in World War I, and that's not something you want to see.
So obviously the U.S. has supported Ukraine a lot, obviously, but do you wish for any other countries to step in and help them?
You know, we have all the NATO countries are back there. I just wish, we need to get China involved somehow, because they're, aligned closer to Russia and Putin. And I think if we can somehow involve them, that might be helpful to reaching a political solution here.
And then how has the war affected you as a citizen of the United States?
Not me, in any way physically, just emotionally. Like, my life has kept going on, but it's concerning, especially that, God forbid, this can escalate to a nuclear situation. And Putin certainly has threatened that. Hopefully that's not going to be the case, but settling this properly, it's going to impact the entire world.
Well, we thank Mr. Borys. That'll conclude our time here. On behalf of Natalie and I and our entire Borys Berries team, we appreciate Mr. Borys for taking the time to speak with us today about the ongoing war in Ukraine.